two people in the life of a child. Ne? One is pregnant with the name, and the other one is pregnant with the actual child. So a man is to think about the name of a child properly for 9 months. He's got 9 months to really, really think. What is to be thought of, it is the ancestor, because you see, none of us carry our name. We carry the name of those who came before us. This is our whole ancestral system coming in. So carrying the name of those who came before us, it comes from the logic that if you call a child by the name of the dead, you make the dead live again. So the dead live again in the child now. But also informed by this philosophy that in the person of the person, there are many persons, right? So I would say you are not alone. So you are 33% your mother, 33% your father, 33% yourself. But in your mother, in you, is her mother and father. And in her mother and father is their mother and father. So it is the same with the father in you is her mother, his father and mother, and so forth. This is the whole thing. They say you are a community. Hence, therefore, when we greet you in plural. Like Dumelang, because we are not only greeting you, are greeting them in you. Not just them as two individuals, but a whole lot of them. Now, where do we get the thing that out of all these 10,000 people that are in you, you're the ultimate representative of all that ever existed. If your lineage began million years ago, you embody all the million entities that came before you. And when people say ancestors don't exist, actually you are the living evidence of their existence.
Exactly. I always question that. I said, so by you saying you don't believe in ancestors, are you essentially then saying that you do not exist?
Yes, because you see, no one is self-created.
No, you didn't come out of nothing.
And human beings are created sexually. That means it took your mother and father, who are equally made sexually the same way that you were made sexually. So we're sexually cloned. Our immortality is in our offsprings. According to our African philosophies, our immortality is in our offspring, not this religious magic that either you live forever, you are immortal. No. That is why it is essential in the normal African person. And that goes with the three main feast, or the three main important events in the life of a normal person: birth, marriage, death. All of them, they have ceremonies. And all of these ceremonies, they are enacting life. They are all dramatization of life, the drama of life. Even burials. Burials, then we are performing rituals of what, if we use chematology terms, we'll say the ossirification, the making of Osiris. This is the first, in the whole drama of Kemet, the first one to die. And rituals of death performed for his Osiris. Now is the ossirification, the burial system now. Now the ossirification, it is the process yaho udira lidlozi. That is why amanguni badareba, when they bury you that day, hamba ube idlozi elihle. Go and be a good ancestor. So the funeral rites are the rituals of making you into badimu. So you are becoming now badimu, or you are badimu. But you are badimu. Who we will then say mudimu. Is the deification. So the funeral is not just the burial, the disposing of the body. It is the deification. It's a process of deification where you are being deified, the deification of an individual. So now in the life of a normal person, there are two people, the mother and the father. The mother is physically pregnant, the father is emotionally pregnant. That is why during the process, the entire period of pregnancy, you guard against your emotions, because you transmit your emotions to the baby. You guard against what you eat, who you associate with. But it also goes, some they will even go to the great extent that and that is where other past aspect of polygamy comes in. Some go to the great extent of saying they don't have sexual intercourse during pregnancy, because the assumption is if the child is a boy, the father is committing sodomy with his son.
Ooh.
If a child is a girl, the father is committing incest with his daughter. So she's separated. So the man is busy with another woman because male species, man is the only creature that God created to have sex every day, like literally. It can take 30 men to impregnate the women of the whole world. Understand? It can take about 30 men. Each man carry millions of sperms. So it can take about 30 men to impregnate all the women in the world. So therefore, there are a lot of instances that forbid a woman from not engaging in sexual intercourse all the time, like menstruation, breastfeeding, pregnancy in the most holistic sense. It's like when you're pregnant, whichever act is either incest or understand. Breastfeeding or so therefore there is a moment of abstinence.
Yes.
But now because the man every morning he wake up with his manhood, like what they call the resurrection of Osiris. That is why in Egypt the symbol of the resurrection is a risen penis, the obelisk, what they call the Cleopatra's Needle, that is in Washington. They stole from Egypt, the French Freemasons during Napoleon's time, and gifted the Americans, together with the Statue of Liberty and other things. So that represents the lost penis of Osiris. That the first symbol of resurrection is a risen penis. So, and that is basically every normal man. When the sun rises, his manhood rises with him. Every day when the sun rises. So this is one of the conditions that precipitate polygamous setup. Now when people say polygamy is not about men, polygamy is about men. It is about men, and it is about men's sexual urges as a creative force. Not today how society has come now to classify sex from the Judeo-Christian society, where sex is a bit of acceptable, sinful practice.
Correct.
But look, the importance of men having sex every day, it ranges from prostate, among others. Ne? Otherwise, you develop prostate and all of that. Ne? It ranges to cover his emotional state of being. Otherwise, you'll find mucho. That is why in our society, mucho karona lengkani, but ona letswai.
I don't get a man.
But he must get laid.
Get laid.
You need to get laid now. You see. So now there are two people that create a person. Now these people, they do that when the woman is physically pregnant, the man is emotionally pregnant with the name and everything. So then the child, if we anticipated a boy, but it's not a boy now, it's a girl. But the name we had was Ramatsubani. So the child is still named Ramatsubani. And this is the first thing among the soul, the Bantu soul. The Bantu soul is divided into 9 components. The first component of the soul is the name. Without the name, you don't exist. You're non-existence. An entity receives its existence through the name. It comes from the roots le-ena, the self. Or the ego. What the Western people, they say ego. That is why this Western Greek metaphysics of modern people, woke and conscious people say, oh, only ego. No. Our system is very egotistic. From our eponym, Sereto.
You beat your chest. From
Oferium side, ukshela. Ukshela orarwa ipapacha. What is about you. Understand me? Because the basis of our African science, it was to know yourself. From Kemet from Nyagato to Ningizimu, from Kemet to Ningizimu here. the first principle, if you're going to enter into our school of thought, whether it is on Heliopolis, Thebes, or any of those fraternities, the first thing that was written there or is symbolized by the eye. This, they call it the all-seeing eye.
Yeah.
It symbolizes man, know thyself. You get it like a Rabasotho. But re ruta yang meloko ya ba bangwe o sa tsebe meloko ya heno. How do we teach you about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob when you don't know who is Ntsotso, Mamutsi, Jasinyenye? So how do we teach you that? We are going to confuse you. Yeah. So everything, the 360 degrees of knowledge that Kemet was offering, it's all about self. That is why for you, one of the prerequisites for you to enter those sacred portals of knowledge, the main question it is going to be, which creature begins life with 4, go through 2, and end with 3? Which creature is that? It begins life with 4, it goes through 2, it ends with 3. Hey, Oskanyo gon dialela goes very brilliant. I'm going to leave you to do homework. We'll get back to it.
Okay, so, run that by me again.
Which creature?
Yeah.
Ke sebopua se feng a re late ka serena sa serena sa rena ke sebopua se feng se se thomang bophelo ka tšenne sa tšwela pele ka tše 2 sa feleletša ka tše 3 re rile a re rephrase gape. I know I'm your favorite person, so on Tibeleji and Ongoro
focus. Like my mind is running wild.
Focus.
Yeah, okay.
Really, we said all knowledge, all the 360 degrees of knowledge that the pyramid schools, the mystery system, the ancient knowledge system of Kemet, of the Bantu, all the 360 knowledge is about what? Before this.
Okay.
What was the context? Our system is egotistic. It's all about
men.
Self.
Yes. Men. Self.
Yeah. Okay. Now therein lies the answer to the question.
Yeah. What
is the answer? Which creature begins life with 4, go through 2, and with 3? Ke sebopua se se fe se thomang bophelo. Ke motho. How?
Starts with 4.
Yeah, o thoma o ga bula magajaka.
Ah.
Yes. And then what do you run? Sa bobedi keng?
Sa bobedi ke 2. Ke maoto wa sepedi.
Sa boraro
wa hlotlola.
O zama ka patla. Ke leoto la boraro.
Wa hlotlola.
Yes, it's a human being. So, you start with 4. You're crawling. I get it. Then you walk.
Yeah.
Then you walk with a 3rd leg, which is a wisdom.
Yes.
You might not walk with a 3rd leg because of but like I walk with a stick.
Yes.
It means to say I'm a man who walked through the earth, balancing with my knowledge and experience and paving the way with it.
Yes. Yes.
It's a balance. I'm balanced with me. So it's a symbol. It's not necessarily no. That means if you clear that level, so it's a that means this man, he depends on his knowledge and experience to balance himself and to pave the way on earth as he walks. Sanusi. So it is the self. Now what are these numbers? It's 4. It's 2.
It's 2. 3. The 6.
Plus 3.
9.
King. 9 months.
9 months.
of incubation.
Yes.
Wow. So 9 is a number of a person. We don't count beyond 9. Beyond 9 is a repetition of the numbers.
Yes. So in fact, that is the infinite number.
It's an infinite number.
Yeah.
It is number that is having 3 multiplying itself 3 times in itself. Yeah. But also it is a number of the holes in our body. There are 7 on our head. There are 2 here. 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 7. 1 here, 1 there.
Yeah.
Right? So it's 9. Which again 9.
Yeah.
Is a number of a person. So that is within the framework of numerology. When we want to determine the divine and a human nature of anything, it must give us up to 9. I can take you through many systems. I can take you through Rastafari, Ras, 3 ways, Tafari, 6 ways, 9. Rastafari is 225th descendant of Solomon and Sheba. 2 plus 2 is 4 plus 5 is 9. I can take you through the Bible, the 144,000. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 4 is 9, plus 0 is 9, plus 0 is 9, plus 0 is 9. 666, the mark of the beast. 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 plus 6 is 18. 18 is 1 plus 8 is 9. That is why the book of Revelation, it says it takes the mind that have wisdom to calculate the number of the beast. 666. Yes. For the beast is a man. It's a man. So when you calculate this number, it gives you, it's a numerical figure of a man. It tells you it's a man. So it's just metaphors to say the beast. 666, the mark of the beast. But it is a mark of man. Solomon receives 666 kilograms of gold every year. So 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons make up you. So it's 9. It's a 9 ether being. 9-dimensional being. And then you can go 9 orders of heaven, 9 orders of the angels, principalities.
While we're there, there's something that's been bothering me. Ba masione ba rata gore le godimo la boraro. Can you tell me what that means? What does that mean?
In this, obviously, Masione are talking from the Bible.
From the Bible, yeah.
This, therefore, is a Judeo-Christian. It's something that come out of Judeo-Christian cosmology, or the Christian cosmological science, or the biblical cosmology. That this now I learned from the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, the oldest Christian church in Africa, the second oldest, because the oldest was the Coptic. But this woke, conscious, black, Pan-Africanist, Rastafarians, and all of that, when they want to chaff themselves, they like to say Ethiopia is the oldest, but the second oldest in Africa, because the first is the Coptic Church in Egypt. So it was under the tutelage of the Coptic Church for 1,600 years. Yeah. Until 1947, when Haile Selassie gave them independence. So, within the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, there are 7 heavens. So these 7 heavens, obviously, now, the Ethiopians, they say the first heaven is Io, followed by Rama, and then followed by Menvermengest, the table of heaven. Yeah. So so Labo Shuba, it's supposed to be the heavenly Jerusalem. Jerusalem So the one that the book of Revelation talk about. That behold the heavenly Jerusalem, Jerusalem coming from heaven like a bride. So Logodimo Laboraro is just the 3rd level of consciousness, the 3rd realm. Actually, we're talking about multi-dimensional realms of existence.
Yeah.
That is biblically speaking now.
Yeah.
Now these multidimensional realms of existence become the third one, the heavenly table. Yeah. So if you read the book of Enoch, on his way to heaven, what's a Maya of Kela Afika the one sitting there on the seventh heaven with a name which means dreadful, terrible, and fearful. Now, you know, dreadful, terrible, and fearful means what? It means Tafari, one to be feared.
Okay.
Now, when you say Rastafari is God, when Marasta say Rastafari is God, it is obviously biblical. It is make most of the references are biblical. King of Kings, Lords of Lords, conquering land of the tribe of Judah. But one of the point that they will point to you that the one who sits on the seventh heaven, his name is dreadful, terrible, and fearful. This is basically what Tafari means. It's the Amharic Ge'ez name, one to be feared, one to be revered, dreadful and terrible. That is why Rasta keep the images that they keep, locks, and they'll tell you that the man must be dreadful, like fearful type of thing. The woman must be beautiful, the man must be dreadful, and all of that. Okay. So yeah, and then you'll have now the throne, from the throne of David, Solomon, Haile Selassie's got 7 steps. And then the 7th one supposed to be representing God. Remember, beside biblical and Ethiopic, even you come into our Bantu royal system, Kgoshi ke Modimo wa lefatshe le. Ke se se kwati ya boditjeng the missionaries. When the missionaries came to Bapedi to preach Christianity, but Jesu is the king and what Squati are Kgoshi ke Modimo wa lefatshe le ka se mola tlhoro botsa ka Kgoshi Jesu. Kgoshi ya mo. Ke ena Modimo wa lefatshe le. Which is true with most of the African royal system is cosmological in a sense of the king represents the sun, like the sun king. That is why if you don't agree with Kgoshi, you pack and leave his village. There is nothing beyond the king. You can't pray to a god above the king. So God is king. That is where Rastafari come from, that tradition of sacred royalty, divine kingship, that span all the way from Kemet to Ningizim, like in our true state. And that is why our kings today, they've lost that. Because they are political and they are religious.
Exactly.
Now, Kgoshi,
so they are conflicted.
They are conflicted.
Yeah.
Kgoshi is not supposed to bow to Jesus.
Kgoshi is not supposed to bow to nobody.
Yes.
But events.
That politicians.
Kgoshi wa bolela somewhere in there in between. Go sa tlo bolela mayor. Mayor ke ena tlo tswalelang. Go thoma mayor bile mayor ke ena tlo tswalelang. Yet a ke tsebe gore na ba lebetse gore na ka morago ga Kgoshi a go sa ne motho tlo bolela. Kgoshi o tswalela ke go mangana. O tswalela modimo.
And lentswe la Kgoshi
a le tshelo.
Ba feditse go bolela go
fedile.
Wa bona ke ena fetsa.
Mara
today ba tsela magoshi a dula ba fuwa front row. They sit on the front row. And then ya tswelela a politician ba re ke mayor. Everyone stand up, including the king, whom the mayor is staying in his village.
Yeah.
Or what's a bishop? That is not the way.
That is not the way.
No, that is not the way. Yes. Because our system was about divine kingship. The king was not only the king, was also the high priest. And he was also the high witch doctor, if you wish, if you want to use that Western terminology, or the custodian of the religion of his ancestors. the custodian of the spiritual culture of his ancestors. He's the highest. Otherwise, Khosi Ikabalengaka Yamushati. There are some talks that Shaka was not only a king, but he was also a prophet, which mostly they were, because when he was to be killed, he made a prophecy about how the white people are going to take over the land from these careless brothers who are now trying to dethrone him.
Yeah.
But the same you get with a whole lot of Maoshiaren. Or prophet, particularly in relation to the coming of the colonialists. Most of our kings have spoken about these things. But also most of our kings have allowed our colonization by over-fraternizing with the colonialists. Most of our kings have allowed colonizing. Like most people are sitting now and acting dumb and try to ask, how did we get colonized? No, there are many factors to it. Our kings converted to Christianity was another reason how we get conquered. Because you lose your sovereignty. You are pledging loyalty to the God of these foreigners. It's not your God. Jesus is not our God. Jesus does not come from our indigenous culture of royalty, from washing barren. That is why he was introduced. Every Hoshi Bilemokraste converted like a white missionary. Or a black missionaries like Bunzikana, who were converted by the whites. So every Hoshi, is a product of conversion, proselytization by the missionaries. So they later contributed to that. They became what our missionaries what missionaries were to our kings. Bohotositwinta became that to the new rulers, because now our kings stopped ruling, but now you have these high Sanusis, Bohotositwins, to a great extent, with all due respect, but to a great extent, because Bohotositwins are neling a fair vote. And Credo Moto nelinga fair vote before Credo Moto prophesied. He told yeah, he told Fervoot they were gonna step you. How would we do that? These are the people that Fervoot brought them together when he dropped the Witchcraft Ordinance Act. When they come up with laws for traditional healers, Fervoot gathered one of the top sangomas, Credo Moto, Khozo Situnsa. They were one of those whom started to share knowledge as to the clarity fetus and the about so those are the high Sanusis but we were thriving during apartheid, but they were not thriving like that. They were fraternizing with the powers that be. I mean, that is a job of Ngak. But in the absence of your indigenous king, the colonizers. This is the same thing Alexander the Great did in Egypt. When they conquered the indigenous Egyptian, they still have to fraternize with the oracles of Egypt, the oracles of the oracles of Siwa, where Alexander wanted to be initiated, but he was too pale to be initiated into those dark mysteries. Understand? So this is what happened. Like when our kings lost the power to rule and the authority to rule, and they get overthrown, they are healers. They are traditional healers who will traditionally be ngaka because Hoshi na ngaka yo. Obone le datla re lebeletse ilembe. Shaka.
Yes.
Ofithle isanus itoboja jama. About the birth of Shaka. That is why Bar is a child of prophecy. So we always had prophets, but the prophets Jarana, that is why now I've always had that thing that Christianity, black Christianity does not have prophets. Particularly because they were wanted to camouflage. But the later one, these modern ones, who are modeling themselves now as who are not really like apostle, like that transition between African spirituality and Christianity, and where now our people creating what they call African independent churches of the 19th and 20th century, bo Nehemiah Tile 1883 the Xhosa Tembu Church, bo Mangena Mokoni 1892 the Ethiopian Church of South Africa, bo Mapostola, Shembe, ZCC, bo Enoch Mugijimas, Black Jews of Bulhoek, Eastern Cape, all of that, Black Christians who have this concept of Baporofita, all of these, ne kidingak, ditsene ka ra kereke, jaki pitla, jai pitla ke jona Baporofita. And that is why you'll get that these independent African independent churches, they were more Old Testament based than New Testament, because they found a lot of resonance with Baporofita about Old Testament, bo Elijah, bo Isaiah, bo Ezekiel. And that is why to grant Baporofita bale ba bakhali babo kereke ja bo papa ja mapostola ne le bana ba maledu. You will hardly get the postola now. Maledu ne le bana ba maledu le miriri le ba se ja miriri ne ke tsemo moti ona le moti before bile re tseba ka borasta like Salamunyane o 10 years. That's like a papa and speak there Papa was a house inspector. Or moving down now, but I think a munyai. Why did you Malidua and I like a laugh attack? I'm rear. Never paralebuti table, which I did to my Kabarasta no, never paradin to one. Lema pala garava peduna leading a gajawa, mapala. Mapala vanali dreadlocks, Baporofita, Vayakile, Ure Mapala. Batsamela lebo di dupe le bo di ngaka chicha le bo di ngaka chupi about the herbalist and by just certain things they massage everything. They were choosing what they were eating ke maphala ke di baporo ne ba bona. So there was always fears. Hence otabona lebo mpo chere guy from the Pedi tradition.
Yes. Lebuwa likiba. Le malopo.
Le malopo. Because ke batho ba lore ba senjore ba tie dikoma. Ba tie malopo, ba tie lebuwa, ba tie likiba. Ba tsene ka ra kereke. So by incorporator le sekereke. That is the whole evolution of the African independent churches. And out of the African independent churches came now the African theologians. Those who were not necessarily part of the independent churches. They were learned like Reverend Sitilwani, Bishop Mulihe Sitilwani, Gabriel Sitilwani, John Mbiti. One who were either Catholic priest, Alexis Kagame, then they were troubled by the racism they find in the church. They developed African theology. Now, African theology is nothing but an African Christian reflection on Christianity, or African Christian trying to use Christianity to rationalize African religion, or African Christians who use the gods of African religion to explain Christianity. Like Batori, Mudimu wa Bible ke Ramasedi, Mudimu wa Bible ke Muari, Mudimu wa Bible ke Rama ke Tlatamacholo, ke Shikwembu, wabo. But then the problem with that, we call them intellectual smugglers. These are the thieves of our gods. Now the problem with that is that Mudimu Ranchua from his culture as Hobe, as Mudimu, as into the Bible. Lojena di tolerate as Mudimu, Jasipedi, Utolalebo, Mapadi, Kiba, Pasa, Budikoma, Buni, Asa di tolerate. Because now he's no more Kimudimu Galina. But culturally, he's been transplanted. Now his transplantation is now stopping Mudimu Abapedi. He become Mudimu Waba Israel. He stopped being Mudimu Wabusikukuni. Leba Kilempeli. Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. So the things that he originally tolerated, he doesn't tolerate. the doctrine or that was used to articulate him, or the philosophy, is no more used. This one, they were using African spirituality to explain Mudimu. Now they've moved from using African spirituality to explain Mudimu, who is a product of African spirituality and African spiritual culture and African culture, and therefore the African heritage, which is made up of African history, African culture, and African spirituality. Now he's moving out of the African heritage to the Judeo-Christian heritage. Now he's just Mudimu by name, who they equate him with Jehovah, who they liken him to Jehovah. And now Badimu, who were supposed to be the middlemen now between us and Mudimu. These are ancestors charged with the responsibility of taking our whatever to Mudimu. They become, when they reach this side, they become demons. And they are demonized. Actually, the Wookiee Bible in 1908, one of the Bible translations, Bible was first translated into the Bantu languages in 1846, starting with some few books, Gospel of John and so forth. Until 1856, Robert Moffat did the whole Botswana Bible. Now, Atia Lina Lava Clapping, like a divinity called Mudimu, and it's in Chagamo. That is why. And that is the oldest language that the Bible was translated into, the language of the Bantu was Setswana. That is why even the Pedi Christianity, because his first Bible and his first originators of the African Independent Church were reading the Tswana Bible. That is why Mudimu asilina la Sepedi. Bapedi ga ba re Mudimu. Ba re gobe.
Oh.
Yes, that is why galo pregnant ba re motho wa gobe. That is why setšhaba se bitswa batho ba gobe. That is why go le motho wa go loka ba re
batho ba Modimo.
Aowa, batho ba gobe. Wa bona. That is why when I speak on about yeah, I say that too much. But now we're not going to le mulata wa mushate address as chaba. But ma gobe. Awon batho ba gobe. So gobe ke Modimo. Papa go gobiane. Awa. Jesu a rena ke gobiane. Morwa gobe. Mo go ka Sepedi ya no re la ta Sepedi ya no. Ke gobe. Modimo ka Sepedi ke gobe. Modimo ke leina la Setswana, se la Sepedi.
Sure.
Which is basically a Sotho name, but not Pedi like Bapedi. Bapedi Modimo ka Sepedi ke gobe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I think I want to cook now.